If I told you that the average American with a full-time job, a good salary, and no debt problems is still broke by the time they're 45, would you believe me? Not because they're bad with money, not because they're lazy, but because of one silent decision they make every single month. A decision so small, they don't even notice they're making it. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what that decision is, how to reverse it, and how to build a saving system that works even if you're living paycheck to paycheck right now. Stick around, because tip number 4 is the one most financial advisors won't tell you, because it costs them money if you use it. Let's get into it. Here's the thing about saving money in America right now. Inflation has cooled off from its 2022 peak, but prices are still up double digits from a few years ago. Rent is brutal, groceries are brutal, and yet somehow some people are still managing to save 20%, 30%, even 40% of what they earn. What's the difference between them and everyone else? It's not income. Studies on this have shown over and over that income and savings rate are only loosely connected. People making $200,000 a year can be flat broke. People making $55,000 a year can retire early. The difference is entirely in the system, the habits, the structure, the psychology.
So today, I'm walking you through a complete, practical framework for saving money in 2026, built for real American incomes, real American bills, and real American temptations, like DoorDash at 11 p.m. when you're too tired to cook. Let's go back to that decision I mentioned at the very initiation of this video. Here it is. You're saving whatever is left over at the end of the month. That's it. That's the whole problem. Think about how most people structure their money. Paycheck comes in, rent gets paid, groceries get bought, subscriptions renew, nights out happen, Amazon does its thing. And then if there's anything left over, that goes into savings. The problem is that leftover is almost always zero. Not because you're overspending on purpose, but because of something called Parkinson's law of money. Spending naturally expands to consume all available income. If you have $200 sitting in your checking account on the 28th of the month, your brain will find a reason to spend it. Treat yourself dinner. Well, I deserve it purchase. It's not weakness. It's just how human psychology works when money is visible and accessible. The fix is deceptively simple, and it's called paying yourself first. Instead of spending, then saving what's left,
you flip the order completely. The moment your paycheck lands, a portion moves into savings or investments automatically, before you ever see it, before you ever have the chance to make a decision about it. What's left is what you're allowed to spend. This one change, just reordering when saving happens in your financial month, is responsible for more successful savers than any budgeting app, any spreadsheet, any amount of willpower. Willpower is a limited resource. Automation is not. Here's how to actually set this up. Log into your bank and set up an automatic transfer for the day after your paycheck hits. Send that money to a separate account, ideally at a different bank than your checking account, so it's slightly harder to access on impulse. Start with a percentage you can genuinely sustain. Not 30% if you're currently saving 0%. Start at 5%. You can raise it later.
The goal isn't to shock your system. The goal is to make saving the default, not the leftover. Now, once money is automatically flowing into savings,
the next question is, where does it actually go? Because savings isn't one thing. Throwing everything into a single savings account is one of the most common mistakes people make, because it mixes up money with completely different jobs. Here's the structure I recommend. 3 buckets.
Bucket 1, the emergency fund. This is money that exists for one purpose only, to protect you when life goes sideways. Car breaks down, layoff happens, medical bill shows up. The standard recommendation is 3 to 6 months of essential expenses, not your full lifestyle spending, just the essentials. Rent, utilities, groceries, insurance, minimum debt payments. If 3 to 6 months sounds impossible right now, don't panic and don't quit. Start with a mini goal, $1,000. That single buffer alone eliminates the majority of financial emergencies that would otherwise go on a credit card. Once you hit $1,000, you build from there. This money should live in a high-yield savings account, not a regular checking account earning basically nothing, and not the stock market, because emergency money needs to be stable and instantly accessible. As of now, many high-yield savings accounts are paying meaningfully more interest than the big traditional banks offer, so this is free money you're leaving on the table if your emergency fund is sitting in an account paying almost nothing. Bucket 2. Short-term goals. This is money for things you know are coming in the next 1 to 5 years. A car, a wedding, a house down payment, a vacation you're actually planning instead of just dreaming about. This also goes in a high-yield savings account, or possibly a short-term CD, because you don't want this money exposed to stock market swings if you need it soon.
Bucket 3. Long-term wealth building. This is retirement money, and this is where things get powerful, because this bucket isn't really about saving anymore. It's about investing, and that distinction matters enormously. Now, here's something most people get completely backwards, and it might be costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime without you realizing it. Saving and investing are not the same thing, and if you're only doing one of them, you are almost certainly leaving life-changing money on the table. Let me show you exactly why. Here's the uncomfortable math. If you put money into a regular savings account, even a good high-yield one, you're earning some interest. But inflation is eating a real chunk of that gain every single year. Over decades, cash sitting in savings barely keeps pace with rising prices. It's safe, but it's not a wealth-building tool. It's a protection tool. Investing is different. When you put money into the stock market over long periods of time, think decades, not months,
You're historically looking at average annual returns well above what any savings account offers, even after accounting for the market's ups and downs. Here's the part that should genuinely blow your mind. The difference between starting to invest at 25 versus starting at 35 isn't just 10 years of contributions. It can be hundreds of thousands of dollars at retirement because of compound growth. Money that's invested doesn't just grow, it grows on its own growth. Every year that money sits invested, it's working harder than the year before. This is why the order of operations matters so much. Build your starter emergency fund first, that $1,000 buffer. If your employer offers a 401k match, contribute at least enough to get the full match. This is literally free money, a 50% or 100% instant return that you will not find anywhere else in personal finance. Finish building your full emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses.
Then aggressively fund retirement accounts, a Roth IRA or traditional IRA, and increase your 401k contributions. Only after all of that do short-term wants and lifestyle upgrades get extra funding. Most people do this completely backwards. They upgrade their lifestyle first, save whatever's left, and never even touch investing because it feels intimidating or for rich people later. But investing isn't a someday thing. It's a now thing, even if the amount you can invest right now is small. Remember the tip I promised in the intro? Here it is. Fees are silently destroying your future wealth, and almost nobody checks for them. Here's what I mean. A lot of financial products, certain mutual funds, certain managed accounts, certain advisor relationships, charge an annual fee based on a percentage of your total assets. That might sound tiny. 1%? Who cares, right? Wrong. Over a 30-plus year investing timeline, a 1% annual fee can eat a shockingly large chunk of your total ending balance compared to a low-cost alternative, because that fee compounds against you every single year, the same way growth compounds for you. This is exactly why many financial experts point people toward low-cost index funds, funds that simply track the overall market rather than trying to beat it, and that typically charge a fraction of what actively managed funds charge. Over the long run, Most actively managed funds don't even outperform the market after fees are factored in.
So you end up paying more for a worse result, and most people never check. Here's your homework after this video. Go look at the expense ratio on whatever fund your retirement money is sitting in. If you don't know what an expense ratio is or where to find it, that's completely okay. It just means it's time to look. If it's above roughly 0.5% to 1%, it's worth researching lower cost alternatives, because that fee is quietly working against you every single year for decades. Let's bring this back to the everyday, because none of this matters if you can't find money to save and invest in the first place. Traditional budgeting fails for most people because it's tedious. Tracking every single coffee, every gas station stop, every grocery run, most people quit within a few weeks. So instead, I want to give you a simpler structure. The 50-30-20 framework, adjusted for real 2026 costs. 50% needs: rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, insurance, minimum debt payments, transportation. 30% wants: dining out, entertainment, subscriptions, hobbies, shopping. 20% savings and debt payoff: your automated transfers, extra debt payments beyond the minimum. Now, I'll be honest with you. In a lot of high cost of living areas right now, 50% for needs is unrealistic. Rent alone can eat 40% or more of someone's income. If that's you, don't abandon the framework. Adjust it. Maybe it's 60-20-20 for a while. The percentages matter less than the structure. Needs, wants, and future. All planned for, none of them accidental. Now, before I wrap this up, I want to address something a lot of people are quietly panicking about right now, and almost no one is talking about it directly. It's the thing that can undo every single saving habit you build, and it has nothing to do with how much money you make. It's called lifestyle creep, and it's the reason so many people get a raise, a promotion, a better job, and somehow still feel broke a year later. Here's how it happens. You get a $10,000 raise. Instead of directing that increase towards savings and investing, your spending quietly rises to match it. A slightly nicer apartment, a slightly nicer car, more takeout, because now you can afford it. None of these individual decisions feels reckless in the moment, but a year later, your income went up 15% and your savings rate stayed exactly where it was, or even shrank. The fix isn't to never upgrade your lifestyle. That's not realistic or even desirable. The fix is a simple rule. Whenever your income increases, split the increase. Let's say you get a raise. 50% of that new money goes towards savings and investing, automatically, immediately, before it ever hits your regular spending account. The other 50%, you're free to enjoy. You still get to feel the reward of the raise, but your future self gets rewarded too, every single time, without you having to think about it. This one habit alone, applied consistently over a career, is the difference between someone who earns six figures and has nothing to show for it, and someone earning the same income who retires early with real financial freedom. Let's recap everything, because this was a lot, and I want you to walk away with a clear plan, not just information. First, flip the order. Pay yourself first, automatically, before spending happens. Second, separate your savings into 3 buckets: emergency fund for protection, short-term goals for near-future plans, long-term investing for real wealth building. Third, remember that saving and investing are different tools. Saving protects you. Investing grows you. You need both in the right order. Fourth, check your fees. A hidden 1% expense ratio can quietly cost you a fortune over decades. Fifth, use a flexible budgeting framework like 50-30-20, adjusted honestly for your real cost of living. And finally, every time your income goes up, split the increase, half to your future, half to your present. None of this requires a 6-figure income. None of this requires being a finance expert. It just requires setting the system up once so that your future is being built automatically, in the background, while you live your actual life. If this video helped you see your money differently, hit subscribe Because next week, I'm breaking down exactly how much you should actually have saved by every age. And the numbers might surprise you in both directions. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.